I sent my parents money for my sick father's care, but they spent it on my brother's wedding and hid my dad in a cheap nursing home. I didn't get mad. I got a lawyer, and my next move left them with absolutely nothing.
You think I wouldn't find out?
I said, my voice shaking, not with fear, but with something colder. Older. You don't know what you're talking about, Emily. Mom snapped, her arms crossed like she was the one betrayed. Dad's medical bills were piling up. What else were we supposed to do? My brother Mark added, not even looking at me.
You used the money I sent for Dad's care to pay for your wedding, Mark. You paid for flower arrangements and a fudding violinist, while he was rotting in a state-run nursing home that doesn't even wash his sheets.
Silence. I sent over $26,000, I said, quieter now. In good faith. We didn't think you'd understand, Mom said. That hurt more than I thought it would. Who I am. My name is Emily Sanders. I'm married by 20. And I've been living in Denver, working remote contracts in fintech compliance, while building a small crypto portfolio on the side. I used to be the family's smart one. Not the golden child, not the favorite, just the one who figured things out. I moved out at 18, never really looked back. I helped when I could, paid bills I never saw, sent money I never questioned, but I never got a seat at the table, until now. The family. Mark, 31. My older brother. Married last year. Always loud, always charming. Got the car, the college fund, and now my money too. Mom, 60. Retired early from nursing. Says she gave everything for us, but she's really only ever given Mark everything. Dad, 63. Used to be strong. Diagnosed with Parkinson's 2 years ago. He needed specialized care. I trusted them to give it. Jenna, 29. Mark's wife, always watching from the side. Silent, but complicit.
You said he was at Rosewood Private. That's what I was paying for.
Plans changed, Em. We had to make choices. No, you made decisions. Without me. I scrolled through the statements again. I'd wired them the money, spread across 6 months. Each transfer clearly labeled. Dad's care. But they used it all. On Mark's wedding, venue, catering, designer suit, even a fusing drone photographer. They put my father in Green Acres, a Medicaid overflow facility. I only found out when the billing address changed, and I checked on him myself. You let him sit in that place while you played Happy Family? I said. He doesn't even know what's going on half the time. Mark exploded. Why waste thousands on him when he doesn't even recognize us anymore? That hit something raw, something primal. Because I do, I whispered. I recognize him. He was the only one who ever believed in me, and you left him there, alone. Mom's eyes were glossy, but she didn't speak, because she couldn't deny it. They never knew. The first $10,000. I sent. That wasn't from my salary. That was from my crypto savings. My emergency fund I'd been building for years. I sold early. At a loss, because they said it was urgent. They never asked how I was doing, how I was affording it. They just sent the next invoice, and I gave, because I remembered Dad coming to every science fair, every mathlete meet. Even when he worked double shifts, when I crashed my car sophomore year, it was Dad who borrowed against his pension to get me back on the road. But now, they couldn't even give him a warm bed. 3 weeks ago, I hired a probate and elder care attorney. Quietly, I had a power of attorney for Dad, Signed when he was still lucid 2 years ago. They never knew. I had financial records, screenshots, voicemails, bank transfers, the facility invoice from Green Acres. And now I had a court order for full guardianship and a civil suit for our misappropriation of funds, fraud and elder neglect. Last week, they were served. Mark at his office, Mom at her HOA meeting. Jenna didn't even answer the door. "You can't be serious, Em. You're suing your own family?" Mom yelled. "You stopped being family when you treated Dad like a burden." "We were trying our best." "No, you were trying to hide what you did and hope I stayed too busy to notice."
Mark shoved the papers across the kitchen table. "You think this is gonna fix anything? You think dragging us through court is what Dad would want?" I met his eyes. "No, but it's what he deserves." Then I stood and I walked out of the house I helped pay for. For the last time, I didn't storm out. I didn't yell. I didn't even cry when I left the house. I just took my father's old army jacket from the back closet, the one they never let him wear at Green Acres because it was too much of a hassle to clean, and I walked out. That jacket smelled like motor oil and cedar. It smelled like the man who raised me. I remember holding it on the bus ride back to my apartment, gripping it so tightly my knuckles turned white. The silence after the confrontation was louder than the yelling. That's the part no one warns you about. After you finally stand up for yourself, it's not peace that comes first. It's grief. The next week was filled with court emails, updates from my attorney, and facility visits. I didn't even have time to be angry. I focused on moving. Dad. Silverston Memory Home. Wasn't luxurious, but it was clean. It was kind. The staff addressed him by name. They played his favorite Sinatra tracks during morning walks. They didn't treat him like a chart. They treated him like a man. When I wheeled him into his new room, he looked up at me, for the first time in weeks. "Emmy," he whispered, his voice cracking. "You came back." I knelt beside him. "I never left, Dad. I just had to fight a little harder this time." A week later, Mark's wife, Jenna, messaged me on Facebook. No apology, just a single line. "We didn't mean for it to go this far." I didn't respond. 2 days later, Mom left a voicemail. "You don't understand what it's like watching everything fall apart. I had to make choices. Please, Emily. I'm sorry, okay?" I didn't delete it, but I didn't return it either. You learn something strange when your family betrays you. You don't want revenge, not really. You just want it to matter. You want your pain to mean something. You want your silence to end. You want the people who broke you to say, just once, "You were right and we were wrong." And maybe to say your name like it finally means something. It's been 2 months since I filed the civil case. The lawyer says the hearing is set for September. Until then, assets stay frozen. They're no longer legally allowed to touch Dad's pension. I'm listed as his guardian in all official capacity. I handle his insurance, care, and medical directives. I never thought I'd be the one doing this. Not because I couldn't, but because I was always treated like I shouldn't. A few days ago, a package arrived at my door. Handwritten. No return address. I knew the handwriting. Mom's. Inside was a shoebox wrapped in tissue. And a note. "You said we never saw you. I think I knew that long before you said it. I'm sorry it took losing everything to understand what we still had. He always kept these." Inside were 6 letters, all written by Dad, most postmarked between 2012 and 2017.
I'd never seen them. I unfolded one dated the summer after I left for college. It read, "Your brother makes noise, but you make progress. Don't let them confuse the two." Another one, from 2 years later. "They don't say thank you enough, but I notice. Every time you send help, every time you call and they don't answer, I notice. And I love you for it." I held that letter for what felt like hours. Then I took it to Silverstone and read it to him. His eyes stayed closed the whole time, but one tear slid down his cheek. There's no perfect ending to this. No warm family reunion. No apology that makes the betrayal disappear. But there's this. Dad is safe. He is clean. He is fed and warm. And I'm no longer invisible. I eat dinner without guilt now. I sleep through the night. I don't jump when the phone rings, because I know I did what was right, not what was easy. And maybe that's the definition of healing. Doing right by the people who mattered, even when the ones you trusted most didn't. Last week, I stood outside the old house. Mark and Jenna's SUV was gone. A real estate sign sat out front. They're selling. I didn't knock. I just watched. Not out of cruelty, but clarity. That house was never mine, no matter how much money I sent. But the future? That's something I'm finally starting to believe is mine. Next month, I start a new job in Chicago. A compliance lead at a blockchain regulatory firm. More money, more responsibility, but mostly a new chapter. I'm taking one picture of Dad with me. He's holding a fishing rod, smiling like he did when I was 10. That smile has carried me through more nights than I can count. I don't know what happens next with Mom or Mark. I'm not sure it matters. They broke something, and I don't need to glue it back together to move on. Because I've got something more valuable than forgiveness right now. Freedom. And finally, peace. If this story made your chest ache, you're not alone. Sometimes the deepest wounds come from the people we trust the most, and when money, health, and loyalty mix, it gets messy, it gets real. But standing up for what's right, even when it means standing alone, that's power. Have you ever been betrayed by family over money or care? How did you deal with it? Drop your story in the comments. We're listening. Like, subscribe, and if you're in this situation, talk to a lawyer. Don't let guilt silence your truth. You're not being dramatic. You're being brave.